Hi everyone, it's me, Julie Chang, giving a shout out to the podcast, 30 Minutes Live with CDP. That is on IG and Facebook, both live Wednesday and Friday night at 8:35 p.m.
Hello, everybody. It's your bro, CDP. Welcome to a Saturday Night Live special. Tonight's guest is a stand-up comedian from Los Angeles, Lauren Kirshner. She'll be with us shortly. Just give me one sec, guys, and I will have Lauren on here. She was nice enough to come on here. And like I said, just we'll put her picture on here. One second, guys. I appreciate everyone coming on tonight. And like I said, I'm still I'm a one-man production on here. And this is Lauren right here. So she's a stand-up comedian. She's originally from Scottsdale, Arizona, and then she moved out to LA. And she's been in the stand-up comedy business, I believe, for over 20 years now. So give me one second, guys, and I'm going to bring on the lovely and talented Miss Kirshner. 1 second. Just one sec. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming on, Lauren. I really appreciate it. How's your dog?
Well, I didn't realize this. This is his growliest time of day. It's always between like around 6 o'clock my time. So I have a chew toy that he's chewing on right now. I have a little puppy, and he decides to bark a bit between 6 and 7 o'clock every night.
What's his name again? I forgot.
So this, everybody, is Meatball.
Meatball. Okay. Hi, Meatball.
He's 3.5 months old, and he's 3.5 pounds. So he's pure terror.
Yeah, I miss having a dog. My dog passed away September 6, 2019 from oral cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Riley was his name. He was a Corgi Shepherd, a Corgi and a Shepherd. And he was 15 years.
He's an Australian Shepherd and Poodle.
Wow. Yeah, Riley was 15 years old. It's just cancer. It's just cancer. It was getting bad, and it was like didn't have a choice. But I have his urn and ashes and stuff.
Aww.
So,
well, let's give a little shout out to Riley.
Thanks. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna get a dog eventually. So I'm a cat person too, but I love dogs too. So, but
I would recommend a rescue that's already
adopt
and trained. This one, I have an older dog too, and he's got bad teeth. He's 12, so I can sympathize. Yeah.
Adopt, but don't shop. I always get my animals from the local humane society. So
good for you. I love it.
Definitely agree. And I volunteered at a local humane society here for over 10 years as well.
Excellent.
So yeah, definitely. Anyways, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on. And how was your lunch today? You posted earlier.
It was great. So we took I took Meatball for his first training session, and it was over right around lunchtime. So I grabbed a bite to eat with one of my friends down in Hermosa Beach. And because everything's open right now, it was kind of cool to be out. And even though we're sitting on a patio, but no, it was great. Lots of Mexican food. I'm full.
Yeah, that's what I had for today. I had a burrito and some rice. I love Mexican food.
So good. How's the Mexican food in Canada?
It's not too bad at all. I really like it. So you guys are opening up and we're closing up again. The COVID numbers are bad here. So now we're in a lockdown for the third time in a year for the next 28 days.
Oh, my God. Same with Europe.
Yes, I've heard that too. Canada's problem is we don't make our own vaccine. We have to buy it from the States or England or other countries.
Right.
And it's just and people are starting to not listen to the scientists and the doctors, and that's why the numbers have gone up here.
Because people are so tired of it. They're just like, I'm done. I'm going out,
Yeah, it's been 14. It's going on 14 months now.
It's 14. Ridiculous.
I know, and it's like they just got to get the vaccine. They just have to get more vaccine here, and luckily my mom's already had her first shot, so that's good. I'm hoping to get mine in the next month or two. So I've been lucky. I haven't been sick in over a year now with no colds or flu. So the masks do make a difference.
I agree, because I used to get sick like 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. And ever since the masks, I haven't gotten sick at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, whoops.
Bit my
You
finger.
okay? Oh, that happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Especially if he's a puppy too. Puppies are a lot of
He's
work.
a puppy, and you can barely see his teeth. They're microscopic, but they can cut like a knife. He's teething. So
So.
all right.
Yeah, like I said, and I appreciate it. And I'll put your website on here too. If everyone wants to check out your website, it's laurenkirshner.com.
Yep.
That's why I checked it out tonight, and I saw that you're originally from Scottsdale, Arizona. And
Yep.
when you were a kid, you used to collect lizards and put them in pickle jars and name them after Brady Bunch kids.
We did, and then me and my next door neighbors used to, and then our parents made us let them go. Well, actually, I think we killed them because we forgot to feed them.
Oh, okay.
The lizards ate.
So yeah, we don't have that many out. Sorry?
Or they melted. I can't remember.
Okay. We don't have lizards here in Canada. I don't think we do anyways.
Too
So
cold.
yeah. Well, we have our 4 seasons. I told Grace, I said, look, we have the fall, we have the spring, the winter, and the summer. Our winters are not as bad as they used to be. Like, I do believe in global warming because we don't get the cold temperatures and the ridiculous snow that we used to. So yeah, it's our I do believe in climate changing.
I for sure do too. I can't deal with the cold. Being from Arizona, if it's below 75 degrees, I need a jacket.
Wow. Meanwhile, here, as soon as it hits 50 or 55 degrees, people wear shorts. So, but I was
live there, and you do.
yes, I was born in it. I love the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
It gives you a break. Our summers can get hot and humid here, and I hate humidity.
Yeah.
I think the perfect temperature is around 75 to 78. Perfect.
Agreed.
Anything in the high 80s, 90s, 100s, too hot.
Yeah. Even though I can deal with it.
And also, I'll just let everyone know that they can follow you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Is that correct?
All of my handles are the same. They're all my name.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were on TikTok or not. I'm not.
Oh, I am on TikTok. I'm very funny on TikTok.
Okay, you can follow her on TikTok too. I haven't signed up there.
Oh, I do some funny ones. Well, at least I think I'm funny. They're funny. So I don't do the dancy ones.
Okay, I'll have to check you out on TikTok then.
Yeah.
I haven't created a profile there yet, but I guess I should look into getting one.
Yeah, it's fun. Once you figure it out, it's pretty fun. Good way to waste time.
Okay. Well, thank God. The only good thing out of this past year is having the internet and having these podcasts and being able to do this.
Can you imagine if we were in a pandemic and we didn't have technology? We'd all be dead out of going crazy.
Well, I survived. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 29 years old, and I didn't get my first computer or internet until I was 29. I'm almost 49. Yeah, so yeah, I've only had the internet and my cell phone for about 20 years now.
So how did you function?
I managed.
Wow,
I did for 29 years, but yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I miss the old days too, where social outings where you actually go out and meet people and stuff like that.
I know. I was just talking about that with someone, how technology starts to stress me out because it's like you're getting ding, 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 a notification. It's like sometimes I just have to turn it off, and I just want to go to lunch with a friend or something.
Yes. So, is it okay before I ask you some questions to play the little clip on YouTube?
Yeah, for sure. Keep in mind in this clip, we were talking about humidity. My hair I have very curly hair. It's hard to straighten it. And it was really, really frizzy in this video.
Okay. You got more hairs than me. I don't have that much hair. I ended up getting a haircut the other day because I'm not going 3-4 months without a haircut again.
Right, for sure.
So I like short hair. So give me 1 second and I'm going to just put your clip on for a couple minutes. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right, 1 second. I'm still new to this, so.
No problem.
Thanks. And I'll.
What's up, swingers?
What up?
Can you hear the volume okay?
Hey, yeah. Celebrated,
Okay.
excuse me, 20 years of doing comedy.
Thank you. Thank you. No one ever believes me when I tell them I'm a comic. It's so weird. Actually, tonight before the show, I met this guy, and he was like, "There's no way you're in the show tonight. You're way too pretty to be funny." I was like, "Okay. Well, according to your theory, you should be hilarious." Anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about the hashtag #MeToo situation. I'm now actually a victim of this. So I'm all for it. And a couple weeks ago, I'm at work, and I walked by this guy, and he's like, "Hey, nice ass." Right, I was so pissed off. Like, I went straight to HR, and I'm like, "Listen, I demand everybody talks to me that way. Right? Not just one guy, like, why Steve?" Anyway, so I am a little uncomfortable performing around alcohol that you guys have ever since I quit drinking. Well, what's the story? Okay, so I quit drinking on 6 de Mayo. I know it totally sucked because, I discovered I had an allergy, which is awful. Yeah, turns out that tequila makes me break out in bulimia. It's okay, you guys. It doesn't. The whole drinking thing, it didn't work out for me anyway. I would wake up in strange places, like my own bed. That's not really what I was drinking. So now I drink a lot of coffee. I'm in this coffee whole world, and I'm getting used to it. But I was at Starbucks the other day, and the barista girl was asking me what I wanted, and I was like, okay, I'll have a tall, dark, and handsome. And she looks down at the register, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is really weird, but I can't find that." I'm like, "I know, join the club, either can I." Just give me a regular old drip because you can find those anywhere. So I am originally from Arizona. Don't know if you've heard of this place. You too? Oh my God. Yeah, woo! So I get a lot of shit. People are like, "Oh my God, you're from that state where they have all that racism?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but at least it's a dry racism." And I actually have this friend, he thinks everyone's a racist, but I'm like, you totally bring that on yourself by being black. So like I said, I live in LA now, and I'm single. I never know when I can meet the right guy, so I try to look nice when I go out. And my friend's like, "Oh my God, Lauren, you're so vain. It doesn't matter what you look like. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great and everything, if you can tell me where I can find any friggin' beholders out there." She's like, "It's not just about your looks, it's about your personality too." I'm like, "I know, but I don't have time for both." She's like, "You just want what you can't have." I'm like, that is so not true. Because, for instance, I can't have erectile dysfunction, and I don't want it. Yeah. So let's, I hate dating. I just want to know how many guys I have to sleep with to get a date. Seriously. No, the only reason I even date anymore is because I'm too lazy to become a hooker. I mean, no offense to the hookers in the house. That's okay. I couldn't wake up every day and do what you do, all that math. Do it. I know. So I work in this little town called Koreatown. You guys heard of it? No? Okay, a lot of Koreans there. But I figured if I was going to be successful, I was going to learn how to speak it, and so it turned out really good last week when this guy ran my car, and I go to talk to him, and he's like, "Well, hop him." And using my best Korean, I was like, "You freaking in my car, let's go hop him." You guys ever been to therapy? Yeah? Did it work? It doesn't work. I tell these people the same thing. It's for the birds. It does? Well, look at you, happy little thing. I'll tell you my experience. I went, and the lady's like, she told me I had anger management issues. I was like, screw lady, you don't know me. And she tells me I have a split personality, gives me a bill for like $200. Yes, I give her $100. I say, get the other 100 from the other asshole. All right, you guys have been slightly above average. Lauren Kirshner, thank you very much.
Hey, that was great. Thanks, Lauren, for letting me play a clip. I was doing that with Grace and Lana last week. So my friend Jamie in Philly is the one that showed me that. So
That's awesome. It was funny, that show, because they said no cussing. So a lot of those words were substituted. And even though they said no cussing, the guy that went on after me cussed up a storm. So I'm like, damn, I could have like really said what I wanted to say.
So I was gonna say you also perform at comedians at Denny's as well.
Yeah. So we have a show every Wednesday, me and two other comics, and it's called Comedians at Denny's. We also have guests. And it originally started off with us getting together and writing material for each other, because we all know each other from workshops and stuff like that. So to help each other. And then we would do it live from Denny's and incorporate the waiter or the waitress and have a guest on as well. So of course, during COVID, now we're all on the Zoom as well. So hopefully we'll be back at Denny's. When I was in Arizona, I went to Arizona in February when they were open, and I did the show by myself from Denny's. It was kind of fun to be out, and I became friends with all the wait staff in Arizona.
Okay. I've got about 10 questions, but I can also cut them down too.
Go for it.
Just let me know if you're okay for time and that, okay?
I'm good.
All right. The first question I was going to ask you, can you tell my audience just a little bit about yourself? Like how you got into being a comedian?
Sure. I've always been a little bit of a prankster and kind of like a quirky sense of humor. Never planned on being a comedian. But when I moved to LA, I had some friends that they were pursuing their whole acting career, and they were taking acting classes, commercial classes, and then they took a stand-up comedy class, and they said, Lauren, you have to take this class with us. Like, you're so funny. So took the class, and then the graduation, so to speak, was a show at the Improv in Hollywood. Well, let's just say I sucked. It was a 5-minute set. My voice shook. I had stage fright. I was like, I am never doing this again. Plus, there was 20 people in the class, and I was number 19 in the show. So, of course, people are going to be bored by the time number 19 gets up. So I just had fun with it, said never again. And then some of my friends were going to an audition 2 weeks later at another comedy club here called the Ice House. And I said, I'm not going. I had such stage fright, never doing that again. So fast forward, they twist my arm. There was 5 of us that went. I was the only one that made it. So they were all mad that they didn't make it. I was mad that I did make it because I never wanted to do it again. So I'm like, I have to get on stage again. And then I did the next show, and then they asked me back, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. I don't know what I'm doing, just kind of talking. And so then I just started taking workshops. And you can cut me off anytime you want, but I had quit because the workshops and the classes made me less funny because they're trying to change my style. And I was out one night at a comedy club out here, and I met Kathleen Madigan, who wasn't quite famous then. She was performing at clubs, but she hadn't been on TV yet. And she and I hung out after the show, and I said, you're so funny. I love your writing style. I used to do comedy. And she asked me why I quit. And I said, because I took classes and they made me less funny. And I just couldn't, I don't know. It turned me off. And she's like, never let anybody tell you how to do comedy. It's unique. You have to just figure out your own voice. And then I met Jay from Comedians at Denny's, and he introduced me to some actual coaches, not classes. And I kind of invented or created a character, and that's kind of where it went. And I've had some really good gigs, but the funny thing is years later, I ran into Kathleen again, who, if you guys don't know her, she's super famous. And I said, I'm sure you don't remember me, but because of you, I got back into comedy, and I'm kind of thriving at it, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's great. And so took a little photo together, did some cheers, and that's it. So not the most exciting story, but it works.
Everybody has a story. Everybody does. Speaking of Jay, he's going to come on, I think, next Friday night. at
That's awesome.
7 o'clock, 4 o'clock your time. So,
Awesome.
yeah, since I've met Grace, I've met Lana. I've
That's not part
met,
of this show. Yeah.
yeah, I've met Lana. I've met Grace. I've met Jay, and I've met a few others. And it's really, like I said, it's been really great. Like there's been a couple of positive things this year, and this podcast has been positive. This is something I want to do. I want to get into radio and just meeting new contacts, like from sports. Like this is a sports podcast, but I also want to branch out and interview people from other professions too.
Very cool. Very cool. I've performed with Lana before. She's great.
Oh yeah, and she's from Canada too.
I know.
She's not far from me, where she's from Toronto. So she was really good last week, and like I said, this StreamYard's amazing because, like I said, I can do all this stuff on my podcast and make it sort of somewhat professional.
I like how it is. I like it better than Zoom. I was talking to the Denny's people, and I think we're going to switch over to StreamYard too. I'm
going to tell you, this StreamYard has been great. It's made my podcast more professional. I've got a little bit bigger audience. I still got to work on it, and all my questions I can put on graphics, and I don't have to look at a sheet of paper and look down at it and ask my guest. I can just boom, put it on right here, just like I'm doing right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I still have StreamYard. I'd highly recommend. They have one package that's free, and then they have one where you got to pay a basic package, which is I have, and then they have a professional one. So, but I would recommend StreamYard to anyone, not just for a podcast. If you're going to do live streaming, period. Zoom's okay. I have Zoom, but I rather use StreamYard.
Yeah, we pay for the Zoom as well, because with the paid, the only way you can go live like Facebook Live is with the paid version, but it doesn't look like this. It's just this more looks like not user friendly, but like
it is. It definitely is user friendly because I've learned to get used to it, and you can share video clips on here. You can share videos like I did with your performance tonight. It's great, and I can, like I said, I got graphics on here too on the back, and I got my brand on here too. So
yeah, good job.
Thank you. I still got a lot to learn. So
don't we all?
Yes. I think I learn more now than I did in my 20s. In my 20s, I was kind of like,
I know.
And then I think you should work first and then go to school, because when you're in the work world, you see a lot of stuff, and then when you go back to school, you're like, you appreciate it more.
Well, you can always go back to school.
I'm hoping to go back in the fall, even if it's online. Yeah, I really want to go into radio broadcasting.
Excellent.
I love talking to people. I love interviewing people, and this is something I should have done years ago, but I didn't have the tools back then to do this.
That's extremely true. Like like the Zoom and this wouldn't have even been created if it wasn't for the pandemic. So I think some good things have come out of it. Definitely.
Yeah. My second question for you, I guess you sort of answered it. When did you know you actually wanted to pursue a career in stand-up comedy? Did you?
I had I wouldn't call them good breaks, because I think that I work at it. So I don't, if it's good breaks, but just really good opportunities. And I'm actually, not to brag, but probably a better writer than I am a performer. And I've helped a lot of comedians punch up their material. I've written for people. It's kind of like it's how my brain works. And I think it's natural for me because I'm extremely quick-witted. I'm more quick-witted than I am trying to sit here and write comedy. It just comes to me. So I also think when we talk about good things coming out of the pandemic, that I've created so much more of a brand with the online presence, social media, these shows. And I think that when all is said and done, I'd like to take that brand into way more than just the stage. I really here's what I need. I have so many ideas for like YouTube videos, one woman shows, but I'm not good on your side. I don't have like the technical savvy. So I would have to partner with someone to help me create the videos, or, direct a show and stuff like that. I can't even do like a simple YouTube video. So I just need editing skills and stuff like that. But that's kind of like the direction I would like to take it, is more into my own brand and create my own.
Well, for me, I've done it all on my own. No, I've had a little bit of help from my friend Jamie, the Philly sports guy, and Grace, but I've had to learn a lot of it myself. How to
Yeah.
create my own brand, produce my own shows,
Yeah.
and how to get. And StreamYard too has been a big help. So, for me, it's a learning process. But if I can do it, anybody else can do it.
Now I just need to make friends with someone that knows how to edit.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. I'm still working on the editing part of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like, and with this StreamYard, I can broadcast right now on my Facebook page, my Twitter page, and YouTube. If I bought the professional package, then I could do 8 sites, but I find doing 3 social media sites is enough for now.
Yeah. What other sites would there be?
I guess LinkedIn. I could do LinkedIn. I could do TikTok, but LinkedIn, I just kind of comfort with this. I do have my own I have my own website on Facebook too, my own sports blog, so I could do it on there too.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But then you can also like copy the link when it's done and just put it at those other sites. Yeah.
Yep. So, okay. My next question for you is, where did you go to university or college?
I went to Arizona State University, and that's where I learned my street smarts. So everyone knows it's a party school, but it was kind of funny because my parents were pretty strict growing up, and when I say strict, I mean 9 o'clock curfews. Like they knew everything I was doing, and just like shoved me off to college, and I learned everything that I was never taught at home. So.
Okay. Yeah, I went to school for law and security. I originally was going to do broadcasting, and then for some reason, I switched to law and security. And now I wish I could go back 27, 28 years ago, and I would have stuck to the broadcasting.
Yeah, but here you are now. You'll get there.
Yeah, you know what? And it's never too late. It's never too late.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. I agree, and everybody in the media profession has been really great with me. Guys from the NFL, ESPN, TSN here in Canada, comedians like yourself and Grace and Jay and Lana, they've been really great with me because they could say, who the hell is this 48-year-old guy? What's he trying to do? But everybody's been really, really great with me on here, so I appreciate it.
We all know you through Grace. How do you know Grace?
I met her online through a friend named Lydia.
Oh, okay.
And then me and Grace hit it off, and I said to Grace, every time I meet somebody I really like, they live 3,000 miles away.
How it is, right?
It's like, yeah, it's true. So, but no, she's been great, and like I said, she's like, I like watching her shows, and then you guys are cool coming on here, and it's great. So, I'm making new friends and I'm making new contacts on here.
Good for you, and that's like the other upside of all the pandemic.
Yes, definitely. And I'm always curious, and I like to ask people questions and stuff.
Cool.
And I like to talk too. So
good.
Okay, my next question for you: did you have a mentor when you first started out in the comedy business?
I had a lot of people try to guide me that I didn't mesh with. So you have to. That's when Kathleen kind of was my mentor because. My writing style, my joke style is different than somebody else's. I'm actually more of a joke teller, you could see from the video, than a long storyteller. So some people just tell long stories. Kathleen actually tells a lot of long stories where I'm just like, short joke, short joke, short joke. And Jay is the one that kind of guided me towards the workshop after I met Kathleen. But I just, I'm pretty picky with what I think is funny. So I have really high standards. I don't think a lot is funny, or I can like see the joke coming, whatever. But I like to challenge myself. So I performed with some really good people. I did something really challenging. I got into the New York comedy competition years ago, and I found it quite intimidating. But then I was like, you could just be anywhere. Like, why is New York more intimidating? Like, LA's intimidating. Like, why, So... And I'll tell you, they always say it takes like 7 years to really be funny. You're going to suck for 7 years.
That long? Wow.
And I will tell you, it is so true.
7 years. Wow. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So that's something else I learned today.
Yep. It really sucks.
I hope that doesn't apply to what I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
because I'll be ready to retire by the time I get good.
Yeah. No, comedy's tricky.
Okay. Next question I wanted to ask you: where was your first stand-up comedy gig, and what comedy club, if you remember?
It was at the Improv in Hollywood for that showcase, which weird place to have your first show because it's super famous. Like it's the world famous Improv, right? So that was the first show, but the first show that I actually made without being in a class was at the Ice House, which is another famous club out here in Pasadena. And it's actually my favorite. I love, like, they always have a great audience. They always have good talent. And I was hanging out there. I had a show one night, and I don't know if you guys know who Bob Zaney is, but he's a very famous comedian who got discovered on Star Search years ago. And he had a show in the room next door. There's 2 rooms there. And the opener called in sick or couldn't make it. So they just came over and said, "Hey, do you want to open for Bob Zaney?" And I was like, and I was so probably within those 7 years. I was like, sure. Like, anyway, one of the best sets I ever had. And it was like, cause it was like, I had no time to get nervous or whatever. And then I just went in the other room and did my show, but it was so much fun. Like, but yeah, I've been to famous clubs in New York and performed in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That show that you showed, that was in Florida. That's the one Jay always talks about, that club, Coconuts. That's why I wanted you to put that one on.
Yeah, and that's the one actually I was looking at before I emailed you, so we think alike.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's what that meant. Okay.
Yeah, because I kind of liked the clip, and then I just wanted to talk to you. I did that with Lana and Grace, too. I just want to make sure that my guests are okay with me showing a video clip, or if they have one that they prefer better to have on here.
Yeah, I like that one because it's only 5 minutes.
Yes.
So, you know, I have longer ones, but I feel like 5 minutes just keeps people wanting more, and then you know, they can always find it later. Yeah.
Yeah, I find with here, I like to try to keep it to about 5-minute clips, because
Good.
I don't want a 20, 30-minute clip, because I want to be able to talk to the guests too.
But otherwise you'd be like, hey, let's just show YouTube. Like, just go to YouTube.
Yeah, pretty well. So, but I'm looking forward to talking to Jay next Friday. I know he had eye surgery, but I'm hoping he'll be okay or feeling better by next Friday night too. So.
He should be. His answers when he talks to you are going to be all jokes, just so you know.
That's okay. That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really good. So, I guess you've already answered this question. Your favorite comedy club to perform at?
Okay, so I have more than one. You know, listen, through this whole thing, a lot of comedy clubs are closing. So
that's kind of sad.
It's so sad. My goal in life was to go to the Comedy Magic store in Hermosa Beach, and they shut down. So, and I really like Florida. I'll tell you, when you get out of LA, you get really engaged audiences, because LA is so concentrated with talent and people trying to, you know, it's just where all the stars live, right? So everyone is required to bring friends and this and that. It's competitive. You go down to somewhere like Florida or Arizona, people just want to go out and watch comedy. No one's asking them to go watch you, and, you know, they literally just want to go on their own to watch comedy, and they appreciate it so much. One of my best shows, I don't know if you were going to ask me this, it was at Coconuts, but not that night. It was a different night. And everything in the room that could have gone wrong went wrong. The fire alarm near the parking lot went off. Right as I was about to do a punchline, the waitress dropped a tray of drinks, like right in front of the stage. I'm telling you, I got a standing ovation because I could handle it, because the way that we're all trained is to work with what's going on in the room. So it worked for me, and it was challenging, and I like getting out of state. I did a show at the Improv in Arizona, the Tempe Improv, years ago, and the Improv in LA only holds maybe 250 people, if that. It's pretty small. And then I go to Arizona, there's over 500 people in the room, standing room only. And I have to say, that really made me nervous. More just because I felt like I was at a huge stadium, you know, and just no matter where you perform, you're just always be you. So yeah.
That's going to be one of my other questions I was going to ask later, but I'll ask it. I'll ask it now since you kind of brought that up. Before COVID-19 and you were doing live stand-up comedy in clubs, did you have a technique or listen to music before a show just to calm your nerves or just to kind of relax you a bit?
No, but what I do is when I'm next or on deck, I just kind of go stand in the back on my own. Just get into character. And I always like to see what's going on in the room. So I like to listen to the person before me in case I can tag on to what they said. Always pay attention. And then maybe look at some things or people in the audience that I can like maybe talk about or, talk to or whatever. But I think knowing the room is really good. Versus just walking on stage and not knowing anything that just happened, because the room knows what happened. So you kind of have to know what just happened. But yeah, I take a good 5 minutes at least and just go be by myself and just get in my head, my character. And sometimes you're like, oh, I was going to do this, but then you see, oh, that's not going to work right now. So you have to sometimes like change things up a little bit according to what's happening at that time.
I know before I do my podcast now, I know it's different from what you're doing. I listen to satellite radio for about a half an hour before I go on. Just because to some of these guests, I'm like, oh my God, they're in ESPN, they're in the NFL, and what, you know what I mean? I start thinking, I start getting a little nervous. So I find music kind of helps me before I come on live and stuff like that. So
cool.
I guess everybody's got a different technique to help them kind of relax or calm down before they do a podcast or stand-up comedy like yourself.
Yeah. Honestly, like the days that I have a show or the nights, the whole day I'm kind of like getting into character. I'm just kind of getting ready for the show tonight and, it's interesting. So,
okay. Here's another question. I've already asked Grace. I've already asked Lana, and I'm probably going to ask Jay next week too, because I know each answer is going to be different, but I had to ask you this one too. How long does it take you personally as a stand-up comedian to gauge an audience mood to your jokes and your show?
Good question. It's not a standard answer, but I would say I try to open with a really strong joke that I know will work. And if they laugh at it, I kind of think I got them. If they don't, I'm going to probably have to work with them a little bit more. And so, but every show is different. I'll tell you a really bad experience I had, because we all like to brag, but this is a bad one. I did a show a couple of years ago where there was a table of older women. And they 100% decided from the beginning they weren't going to like me, right? So it's that girl thing, like the competition. It's bitchy girl, like whatever. But they loved all the guys that went on before me. So as soon as I get on stage, they turn their back to me. They were taking selfies of each other. Made it very clear they were going to ignore me. And I basically just said, hey, like I'm up here or whatever. What did I say? And I said, I'll wait till you guys are done taking your selfies. I don't want to get in your way. It was really the only time where I had to get off stage early. Because we always know, like when you're a performer, they always give you a light. So when they give you the light, it means you have 1 minute to wrap it up. So you always know, no matter where you are, you kind of know how you're going to end your set. And I just kind of went to that point. Like I didn't just get off the stage, but I just like cut my set short. So yeah, it was probably my worst show I ever did.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, each comedian, their answer is going to be a little bit different. I know Lana, last week told me within second show, no. And Grace kind of said the same thing as well.
Yeah. So. It's after my first joke, like,
yep.
I come out and it's the first words I say. And so it's right. Like if I go past that and, I can tell like it's probably the same for a lot of people. Yeah.
Another question. I didn't write this down, but I wanted to ask you quickly. Do a lot of comedians ad-lib a lot of their stuff too? Or do you find a lot of it's already written and they just memorize it? Does that make sense?
Say that. No, say that again. So
A lot of comedians do a lot of ad-libbing, like it just comes to them, or do they write up a lot of stuff and then they just memorize it, or is it better to ad-lib, just go with the flow? Does that-
yeah, I get it. Most people do not ad-lib. They want you to think they do. They pretty much do the material. Now, here the ad-libbing will come in, improv, whatever you want to call it, depending on what's going on in the room. So, if there's somebody, like there's going to be different people at every show. So like that's where the ad-libbing will come in. But you always know where to come back to. Right? So Jay's actually really good at it. But, I've had people like answer back at me, so I have to have conversations with them. You can't predict that. So you just have to be really good at being in tune and staying within a character. So we're all character trained. Like you kind of saw my set. I'm like shallow. I'm a know-it-all, but I'm really stupid, like all that. So I kind of got to stay with the character and you can't come out of it. So you just got to, kind of go with that. But there is some form of ad-libbing because every single show has different audiences. There's going to be something different in every room, but you still have your jokes to go back to. And the way I do it, I don't do it the same way every time. In my head, I know the bullet points of what I'm going to talk about because I don't want to memorize the words, but I can tell you like the bullet point. Now I know where I am, so I can kind of go with the idea.
Okay. My next question, you sort of answered it, but I'll put it on anyways. What is the hardest aspect of being a stand-up comedian?
I will tell you that you're only as good as your last show. So you can have the best show ever and think like, oh my God, I'm like on top of the world. I'm great. And I kid you not, the next night you can have a show and bomb. Did you do anything different? No. I mean, it's just, or maybe, I mean, a lot of it is never blame the audience for having a bad set. It's not the audience's fault, but there's different things that could be happening. So when that happens, you feel like you suck and I want to quit. That's probably why I quit the first time. But, when I started during those first 7 years, I did a show at the Ice House and I was so nervous and I couldn't remember some of my lines, like, not lines, my material. But I got to the end of the set and I did a callback. I'm sure you know what a callback is. So no one laughed at it. And I thought, oh, they didn't laugh at it because I didn't do the original joke. I did a callback on a joke I never did. And I was just like all over the place. So I think you just, even if you bomb, so to speak, you just get up and do it again and again and again.
Be in this profession, even Lana was saying this, and Grace, this profession will kind of humble you too. And and if you do have a bad show, you just got to get up and just move on to the next show, and I guess sort of have a short memory.
Yep. I mean, I had a real interesting experience about 6 years ago. I did a run of show. It was a 5-day run in Arizona at the House of Comedy. Sun is kind of going down. So I was all prepared to feature. I was opening for Nikki Glazer, and everyone knows who Nikki is. She's like, So there was only a host, a feature, and a headliner. So the feature is the one that goes on before the headliner. They do about 15, 20 minutes, and the headliner does 45 minutes to an hour. And right when I showed up at the club, I'm doing 7 shows in 5 nights. The booker said, you don't mind hosting, right? And I'm like, oh my God, for months I've been preparing to feature, because a host is more improv, right? You're trying to warm up the audience. And you can see by my character on stage, I'm not the most positive, happy character. So she goes, well, you're happy, right? And positive. I'm like, no. So I get up on stage. I go, hey guys, my name is Lauren. The club asked for a super positive, happy host. That person couldn't make it, so you guys have me. See, when you talk about improv, I had 5 minutes to like totally change what I had planned months to do. So, but it was fun. It was a really good challenge because It's the thing I like doing the least. So it paid more than the feature. I think that my friend was trying to do me a favor.
I guess what you're saying also too, in the comedy business, sometimes things you have to be prepared to deal with stuff on the fly, on the go.
Oh, so much. Like there's, like the order will change. Someone didn't show up. Can you do this? A ton, so yeah. Or change like what you're going to do. There's times where Jay was going to feature and they asked him to headline. So, yeah.
Basically, you got to be flexible.
You have to be flexible and you have to be a yes person.
Which I'm not. I'm kidding. No, actually, I'm more of a flexible person now. So, but yeah, no, like I said, I like asking you all these questions. Are you still okay for time for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. My next question, Lauren, I guess, what is the best part of being a stand-up comedy? What really keeps you wanting to do this?
I think it's validation because I do inherently think I'm funny, but more with my friends, and I'm quick-witted and I write for other people. And I'm like, you know what? We all have something that we gravitate towards. And the validation of people laughing at me is such a high. It's just such a high because they're laughing at me just being me, and first of all, I think the world needs to laugh more. And I think that we need to not be so sensitive. I tell people, if you're easily offended, don't go to a comedy show. I said there's, movie theater down the street you can go to, but I think the validation really is a lot of it. And that people actually come to me to help me write jokes for them. I love that.
How long did it take you to consider yourself really good at writing jokes? Did you know right away you were good at writing jokes, or did it take you a little bit of time?
So the workshop that I finally got into that helped me evolve really helped. I used to be very wordy, so it really taught us how to take the joke and eliminate all the excess words. And that was probably 7 years into it. I would just talk about these things. I'm like, God, I'm just so wordy. That's why I only memorize bullet points. Get rid of as many words as you can. And like I've become kind of really good at that. And I just, I love that people come to me to help them write jokes. I was, used to be really good friends with Craig Robinson, who used to come to my shows and help me. And then I would help him. Like, he's super famous now. Like, he doesn't have time for me anymore. But, it's the fact that these people, and then, social media has really helped as far as I've had famous people follow me. The producer of the Ellen Show followed me. I was like, oh my God, that just made my day, So the comedy clubs are following me, and they like my jokes. I feel like there's somewhere more I'm going to go with this versus just the stage. I like that there's so many things you can do.
Well, like I said, hopefully one day you'll be able to perform in. That was going to be one of my other questions. I'm going to ask you this right now. Have you ever performed in Canada before the COVID struck?
No, I've only been to Canada once. I was a teenager. I was near you. I was in Toronto, but I didn't know you wanted to be a comedian then. So
okay, ours is Second City. I guess that's the big one over here, Second City.
We have a Second City, but it's an improv show. So there, it's an actual comedy club. Cool.
Yeah, and yuck. So, but when I go to the States before all this COVID struck, I used to go to a comedy club in New York or Chicago or Boston, and that. So, as much as I love sports, I like comedy clubs too.
That's awesome. One of my favorite shows I ever did was at the Comic Strip Live in New York. That's where Jerry Seinfeld started. I was like, I love New York. I love it.
Oh yeah, I'm like a kid in a candy shop in New York City. I spend a lot of money. I have a lot of too much fun, and I hope to go back there again some point.
I really hope to go back there too. And I performed at Gotham, which is actually a really cool club.
So, my next question is favorite male and female comedian.
Okay, so you can probably guess who my favorite female comedian is by how many times I said her name. Kathleen Madigan. I've had a few favorite males. I really loved Mitch Hedberg, who passed away way too early at the age of 37. Do you know who he is?
No.
Okay, so that's the kind of jokes I like super make you think, one-liners, kind of like Stephen Wright a little bit. And then Ron White, who ironically is good friends with Kathleen Madigan. So they actually, not only are they good friends, their jokes are alike. I think they do each other's jokes all, like their styles are the same. If you guys don't know who Ron White is, he's the older man, always has like a glass of scotch on stage, super dry and sarcastic and nasty. And like, if you guys have Netflix,
Yes.
go watch his special, Ron White. He is incredibly funny. And who's the guy? Dave Chappelle, who I kind of lost interest in him many years ago. Just didn't really like him. And then he kind of had a huge comeback, in my opinion, with his special. And I'm like, okay, I love him again. So pretty much the typical. But I'd say Mitch Hedberg, Ron White, and I mean Stephen Wright too. So I like the quirky, really smart, like the smart jokes. So if you guys have any time, I would say go listen to Mitch Hedberg. I was lucky enough to see him in person. He had a drug overdose. That's how he died. And I was like devastated.
Yeah, I guess Lana, she lost her husband a couple years ago.
Ralphie. I knew Ralphie. Yeah.
I don't know a lot about him, but I'm gonna maybe look him up on YouTube and watch some of his previous work.
Yeah, he was on Last Comic. I mean, he had so many health issues. He was like over 400 pounds. So
wow.
Yeah.
One of my favorite late comedians, John Candy, he passed away because he was a big man too, and he was only 44 years old.
I know. So take care of yourself, you guys.
Yeah. Canada's known for comedians. John Candy, the late John Candy, Eugene Levy, Martin Short, Andrea Martin, Catherine O'Hara, the SCTV days. That's kind of our version of Saturday Night Live back in the 70s and 80s. So, comedians are quite popular in Canada too.
That's great.
So.
And they look like we do.
Yes. We're a lot alike. So, my last question is, this is just for anybody who's watching tonight, and it's basically any advice to give anyone who wants to pursue a career in the comedy business.
Don't. Just kidding. Okay. I call it a blessing and a curse because as much as I love it, it's so hard. But the biggest thing is don't let anybody tell you how to do something like I did. You do it, you keep doing it, and you can take classes, you can read this, but true experience is really what you need. And you need to get on stage every night. It's really the only way you are going to progress. So just do it every night. Get as much as you can. Just keep going. Yep.
Just like what I'm doing with the podcast. They've been doing it twice a week, 2 to 3 times a week for almost a year now.
Good for you.
They call it practice and reps.
Yep.
And don't let people tell you can't do something. If you have a passion for something like comedy or what I want to do, get into radio, pursue it. Don't let people tell you can't. Exactly.
But you can write all you want. You can, do all the other work, but you have to get on the stage.
Definitely. And my last question, I didn't write this down, but I'll ask you anyways. Music. Do you have a favorite music you listen to or a band? Anything like that? I
don't. I like all kinds of music. You know what I just started liking, which I didn't like, is country music. I never liked it. Never liked country music. And I went to Nashville a couple years ago, which I have a friend there right now, but I'm like, this is kind of cool. This isn't like that old style country music. And I don't listen to music because I have Sirius XM. I just listen to talk.
So do I.
Yeah. So I just like old town, like classic music. I love classic rock, pop.
So do I. 70s, 80s.
Yeah, love it. I have a Peloton, so those are like the classes I choose, like 70s and 80s, classic rock. So I don't really I pretty much like all music, but I don't like techno, like hard club music or anything.
No.
But pretty much, yeah.
I like Motown music.
Love
and I like Motown, classic rock, country music. If it's the newer country music, yes. The older, it depends.
See, that's like me. I like the newer one because I think they're actually the most talented voices out there. Because they're so raw. There's no. You go to Nashville and you listen to these people on stage. They're so much more talented than American Idol and all that stuff. And they're not. There's no computers fixing their voices. Like they are. Go to Nashville if you have time. Go to Nashville.
I've never been there yet, so I've been to 13 states, but I wouldn't mind going there for the music, like you said, and I would like to come out to California someday too.
Oh yeah, I mean you have to come to California. My friend is in Nashville right now, and she was sending me videos earlier. She's like, it's so crowded, and I'm like, you didn't know, like Nashville is 24/7, wall-to-wall people. It is like Disneyland all the time. It's not like, oh, it's just tourists. It's all the time. And I don't think that she expected that. So if you go to Nashville, it will be crazy busy just down the main street where all the music and the bars and all that is. And it's also on the same street as the football stadium. So,
yeah. Where the Titans play. The only problem is right now, Canada's kind of made so many restrictions, so it's kind of difficult to travel right now. So I'm hoping by 2022. I've never even been on an airplane yet. Never been in an airplane in my life.
What?
No. Grace didn't believe me. Lana didn't believe. I didn't want to go on one before 9/11, which was 20 years ago. And then after 9/11, I'm like, I'll never go on one. But I'm at the point where I'm going to be 50 years old in the next year and a half. I think when this virus hopefully is over with in the next year or 6 months, I would like to get on an airplane and go out to California.
That's crazy. So when you went to New York, you were
I went by car or by bus.
Wow.
The bus trips are great because I'm on these luxury buses where they have TVs and stereos and bathrooms, and you can sleep on the bus. It's all great too. But yeah, like I said, eventually I probably will go on an airplane.
Yeah, you got to explore the world. There's a lot of cool things to see.
Definitely. Like I said, I would like to come out to California because I want to go to a Dodgers game and a Lakers game, and I'd like to go to a couple comedy clubs. And I even told Grace I'd like to meet her too.
That'd be great.
And yourself too. You guys were, like I said, I know we've never met, but it feels like I've known you and Grace and Lana and Jay now for years, which isn't the case. But everybody's been really great about coming on here and helping me out.
Anytime. Absolutely.
Yeah, because for a while there, first 4 months I did this podcast, I couldn't get anybody to come on, but I kept working at it. I don't bug people. I tell them what I'm about. And then the last few months, I'm just like getting 2 to 3 guests on a week. So
good for you. Keep it going.
Thank you. I still have a lot to learn and get better at too. And I'm not going to ever, if I do get successful in this, I'm not going to get a big head or anything like that.
Oh, phew.
Always stay humble. I do have a big head, by the way, 7 5/8. So technically, I do have a big head.
I can't wait to get even more famous so my head gets bigger.
Yeah. Just don't forget about me.
Nah.
No?
No, I don't forget about people. I'm just so happy that this, with the pandemic, we're all like, it's like we can just, it's so easy, to do these shows and to communicate and.
It's just amazing. Yeah. Like 5 years ago, I never thought I'd be speaking to somebody live on my laptop from California, 3,000 miles away.
Right? I know the sun's like kind of making the lighting weird in here.
Oh, because we're in pitch dark now because it's almost 10 o'clock here.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
about 3 hours ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but no, this technology really does make the world smaller.
Yep. I love it.
So,
Absolutely love it. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go, but I was going to say, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on 30 Minutes Live with CDP.
And thank you for having me. I feel honored. Thank you so much, Chris.
Well, I hope you'll come back on again in the future.
I will. Anytime.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, and
Okay.
we'll be in touch. Okay.
Okay. Take care and happy Easter, everybody.
You too. Happy Easter, Lauren. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Anyways, just want to say thank you to Lauren Kirshner for coming on. I hope you guys enjoyed my interview with Lauren tonight. She's been in the stand-up comedy business for over 20 years in the Arizona and LA area. And like I said, I really appreciate her giving me her time tonight. You can check out Lauren's official website at laurenkirshner.com. And let's see, I just wanted, what else? You can also check Lauren out on these social media sites, her Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, which I'm not on yet. And you can also check Lauren out at the comedies at Denny's. Anyways, guys, like I said, my next show is going to be this Wednesday, April 7th. Give me one sec, guys. I'm going to put on my next guest. Put him on right here. So my next show, guys, will be this Wednesday, April 7th at 7 o'clock. Jim Van Horn, who is the coordinator, broadcast, journalist, TV news at Fanshawe College in London, Ontario. And he's also a radio analyst with the Ontario Hockey League's London Knights on 980 News, CFPL in London, Ontario, is going to be nice enough to come on 30 Minutes Live with CDP this Wednesday night. And he's going to talk to me about the radio broadcasting program that I'm interested at Fanshawe College and what it's like to be the coordinator of that program over these years. He's also a former grad of Fanshawe College in London from 79 to 81 in the broadcasting program. And he's also been a color analyst with the London Knights with Mike Stubbs, who's been a guest on here too for a number of years. And I'm going to ask Jim about what it's like to be a color analyst on the radio for an OHL team, especially the London Knights, who've been one of the most successful teams in Canada junior hockey since 2004 or 2005. They won 2 Memorial Cups, 05 and 16. So I'm looking forward to talking to Jim Van Horn on this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So anyways, guys, yeah, like I said, that's going to wrap up my show tonight. Before I go, who's going to watch the Final Four game, which started, I guess, 9 o'clock tonight? It's UCLA against Gonzaga. I'm picking Gonzaga to defeat UCLA. We'll see what happens there. But Baylor already beat Houston. And then the final championship game is this Monday night in Indianapolis. I believe it's a 9 o'clock tip-off, but I'm predicting it'll be Gonzaga against Baylor. But we'll see what happens. Anything can happen. But anyways, guys, and shout out to my Detroit Tigers. They're 2-0 for the first time since 2016. It's been a while, and the Tigers won again today, 5-2 over the Tribes. Willie Castro had a big hit and a couple RBIs, and the Tigers starting pitching was solid again today, and their bullpen was good. I definitely like the move with Derek Holland in the offseason as a free agent, and Jonathan Scope did a nice job at first base today. And it's still early. It's only 2 games into the regular season, but we've struggled for many years against the Cleveland Indians, couldn't beat them, and now we have an opportunity to sweep the Tribe tomorrow at Comerica Park. So hopefully the Tigers can surprise some people this year. And guys, eventually, hopefully I'll get somebody on to maybe talk some Tigers baseball and Red Wings hockey with me in the future as well. So like I said, I'm just glad Major League Baseball's back. It's nice to see some fans at Comerica Park. I believe the Tigers in Comerica Park in the state of Michigan can have up to 20% capacity at Comerica Park. And like I said, I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping maybe this year, by the end of this year, to be able to go to a sporting event again. I really miss it. So, but anyways, guys, I'm just going to read a comment. Let's see. Mark Richardson, good show, funny guest. Mark, thank you so much for watching, Mark. Appreciate it. Trevor Spencer, you're watching. Thank you. Shelly McCrae, thank you. Julie, I believe you were watching at one point too. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. But like I said, guys, I'm glad everybody here likes watching my shelf. And April 1st was my first year doing this podcast. A year ago, it was called Chris's Corner, and it wasn't very good, to be honest. But I really like doing this. So anyways, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I want to get to watching some of that UCLA Gonzalez game. And like I said, Red Wings lost today 2-1 to Tampa Bay, by the way. So anyways, yeah, so go Tigers. Bless you, boys. And we'll talk to you guys Wednesday night at 7 o'clock with Jim Van Horn from Fanshawe College and 980 News color analyst for the Ontario Hockey League's London night. Take care, guys. Thanks again for watching 30 Minutes Live with your bro CDP. Good night and happy Easter, everybody, on Sunday.